All right, good job. Place. All right, so we'll call this a warm-up rep. Generally, when we're at the next stage of place, at first, the first step, we're just rewarding them for getting on, for getting off, for staying on for a couple minutes, like lots of rewards. Okay. In the next rep, where we're starting to raise the criteria, we're going to put them on place, and we're not going to feed. Good. We're going to use good reward markers when they go from standing to sitting. Good job. Oops.
Good boy.
So we also want to kind of start to take our spatial pressure off the dog as well. So you'll have to work through him breaking with that.
Please. Good.
Nice. Good job. Oops. And so for Piper, we've got the position we want. But when we go in to feed her, she's kind of popping up. So that's just going to cause us to go backwards. So I see you're reinforcing him with food, right? Place.
Yeah, he needed a...
Good. 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 Nice. Good job. So she gets to actually eat the food. Perfect. Good. So for Piper, I'm wondering if she's just picked up a pattern of being reinforced with food for doing the thing that we're looking for, and then just like being released from the exercise after. So she's just anticipating that pattern. So what I would try to work on is after you reinforce her with food, let her be in that position a little bit longer before you actually release her, so she doesn't start just picking up on the pattern and releasing herself after she gets reinforcement. Nice. Did you feed him when he laid down? Awesome. And so now that he's kind of situated there, you can release him.
Okay.
Perfect. Whoops. Good. Whoops. Good. Whoops. Good. And if he goes from standing to sitting, you can mark that with your good reward marker. Good. Whoops. Good. Good. I might even try to reinforce Piper more than once for that position. Good. Okay. Perfect. Good job. And so in this phase of learning place, we generally won't feed them after we release them. Place. Good girl. Good. Good. Whoops. Good girl. Good. Whoop. Good. Good. Perfect. So every time she kind of reaches me to try to meet me with that when I'm handing her that treat, I'm just kind of backing off when she does that. Good. Perfect. Good. Piper, okay. Nice job. I'm going to do a little treat toss with her so I can watch what you're doing there. Nice, he's figuring it out. I would mark that. Good. Place. Good girl. Good girl. Nice. Go in. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Perfect. Because he's like kind of, I think he's like guessing and maybe / giving up a little. He's like, I don't really know. Perfect.
Gives you a nice down. So.
Uh-uh. You.
Very chill.
Good.
Chill boy.
Good girl. Good. So make sure with Piper, after she makes a mistake and gets back on, even though she went right back down into that down position that we're looking for, I'm not going to reinforce her with food right away. Oops. Good girl. So I'm going to kind of wait a second. Good girl. Very nice. Good. So now we can kind of challenge these guys a little bit and start to move around a little bit more. Let them kind of get some glimpses of one another. Good. Good. So I'm marking anything I like, which I really want to be on the lookout. And I might even feed her even if she's not in a down. If she looks at something that's going on over here and I see that she's making a really good decision not to get excited about it, and it seems like it's a hard decision for her to make, I might actually reinforce her for looking at that and looking at me. I can also, if something happens over here with Edison and he just suddenly gets excited, or vice versa, Piper does something really exciting over here and the energy goes up and he goes, woo, what's that? The moment he goes, ooh, and if I pair that with food, I can start to create a conditioned response. So right there where he's just kind of casually watching her, the moment he disengages on his own, you can reinforce that. If he's not casually watching her and it becomes more of a ooh moment, I might actually just almost interrupt that with food. So someone's making a cacophony in the crate, that could have been a moment where she's like, ooh, what's that? Right? And the moment that kind of distraction happens, I might just automatically pair that with food from me. So that the more reps we do that, the more opportunities where that happens. Basically what ends up happening is something exciting happens in the environment, and instead of the dog getting sucked into whatever that is, they go, ooh, what was that? You're going to feed me, right? And then we have a little bit more kind of control over the situation. We have a little bit more, what's the word I want? Influence over what happens next in that situation, because the dog broke contact with that heavy distraction and is actually looking at me. I can give them instruction at that point. So that's really helpful. Let's try releasing these guys to us. Okay. Nice. We'll do a little reward moment, treat toss. So it's really important after you do a rep of something to connect with your puppy. So different puppies are going to be into different things, but most puppies really like a little bit of food chase. So playing this little game in between your reps is going to help your puppy stay engaged with you and find training really fun. Place. We're doing like a low key version because we're working together. Good. So right there where she looked at Edison and she's like, that could be fun. I really like playing with that guy. But she decided to look back at me. And I almost kind of made that happen because I stepped in right as she noticed him. So those are things that we can reinforce a lot of. Good. And at the very least, I want to mark it with a good reward marker when it's happening. Good. Nice. Perfect. Just like that. So again, we're going to using spatial pressure and leash pressure if I need to. Good. So we can start moving around the place beds. Good. Make sure you're using those good reward markers when they get back to being correct.
Edison,
Yoop. Yoop.
Place.
Now let's try that again, right? That was almost a combination of distance and duration
Place.
that we had going on. So for her, it was a little bit the distance. Good girl. For him, it was a little bit more of a distraction because I was right in front of him. So we're always kind of aware of what is challenging our puppies. Oops. What their thresholds are. Good boy. And working on kind of getting those thresholds to be a little bit stronger. Perfect. This is a good little choice point moment for Piper where we're using a little bit of pressure towards the bed. And she's going to like kind of be like, oh, really, I don't think I want to do that. She's going to try to kind of ignore that light, even though I'm just using fingertip pressure. It's totally pressure she could ignore, but we're going to use that opportunity to teach her that ignoring pressure doesn't make it change or go away, which is really helpful if we can have the patience to work through those moments. If we can do that now, and we have the patience to work through those moments, we'll get a dog that's very sensitive to pressure and doesn't require a lot of physical force to get them to comply. Good job. So when we're using physical pressure, in this case, we're using the leash, that's physical pressure. We want to ideally use the least amount that we can that is effective. So your choices with using physical pressure like that are, I can use a lot of physical pressure and get it done very quickly, or I can do a little bit of pressure and use duration to teach the dog that does not change or go away until you comply. And so if you can get moments where you work through that, the dog learns that and they give up trying to ignore that and they start responding to light pressure. And that's ideally what we want. Good boy, girl, sorry. Oops. Good. Nice job. Let's go ahead and release these guys when you're ready. Okay, perfect. Nice. So we might even be able to kind of transition this into what we call place to play, where we have both the puppies hold place and they're a little bit closer together actually, which makes it a little bit more challenging. And then we wait for them to get settled and then we release them to play. And that's a really, really helpful thing to do. And if obviously you don't have a multi-dog household, you can change that to be releasing them to play like a really vigorous game of tug or chase or wrestle or whatever it is that you play with your puppy. And then getting them back onto the bed. So you're cycling through a lot of what we would work on emotional fluency. So they're working on getting really, really excited and having a really, really fun time and then getting onto the bed and like settling completely down. So right now, these puppies are getting reinforced on the place bed, good girl, for what we call positional, what do we call it? Yeah, posture facilitated relaxation. Thanks, buddy. So posture facilitated relaxation is the idea that if the body's in a position of calm, the mind is more likely to follow. And so right now, these guys might not be particularly calm yet, but the more time they spend in this position, the more likely they will actually become calm. And that's one of the ways we can actually capture calm on cue. We can start naming that behavior of getting settled. Good job. So these guys are doing great. We're going to continue to work on that with them. Good job, puppies.